All right, welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the Paper Straw Podcast. I am Chris, your host for today, and with me, as always, is Christian Tajedas and Ian Rignon. What's up, fellas? How's it going?
Hey guys, hey everybody. How are you?
Hey,
How is
yeah.
everyone?
I
All right,
guess I yeah. I guess I can say that last night was a doozy.
What
I
happened?
mean, something happened in Seoul last night.
that's what I wanted to talk about actually, because I don't know anything really about martial law. Um, it was apparently called off 6 hours later. He changed his mind.
That's
How are
not
you 6 hours?
martial law. That's not
In less than
martial law.
three, actually. In less than
Hmm.
3 hours.
That's just your ex breaking up with you, then suddenly realizing who has money.
We're gonna go that route too, Christian.
Yeah,
The
that's
screenshots and all that.
that's basically it.
Yeah,
But I
but
guess we start off with Korea with what happened in Korea last night.
Yeah, Chris.
but like so you guys being Filipino, you have a little better understanding of martial law. Like me as an American, I don't know anything really. I was talking to my brother-in-law about it this morning, and yeah, we both realized it's like he's like they did the martial law thing in Korea, and I was like, yeah, I don't even. And my sister was like, what does that even mean? I was like, actually, I don't. I know it's like not good, but I don't really know what it entails.
Is this the
So
first
maybe
time
y'all
Korea
could.
was under martial law?
No, it's not.
I don't think it's not. It's the first time that they've been in martial law.
Yeah, they've been in a military dictatorship, I think, in the 80s. So yeah,
Was that still
it's
back in a unified Korea with both North and South?
I think it's just the South
Just the South?
because
They were supposed to be
because
the
ever
good ones.
since the North is yeah because ever since the North has been that way
Yeah.
with the Kims and
K-pop
all
does
that.
that for you.
Yeah,
So what is it? What is? But for those of us who don't know, what is that really? What is being under or implementing martial law? What does that even really mean?
It actually means that since it's the executive branch, everything falls under the executive branch, right? Even the military, you get to impose mandates on other branches. Meaning, for the case of the Philippines, mandates were imposed regarding military use, the shutdown of media, curfews and such. No organization can actually protest, stuff like that. Minor things that
and
we take for granted.
the suspension of the writ of habeas corpus.
Yeah.
So that's
So human rights
basically warrantless
violations
arrests. Yeah,
everywhere. But they only got it for 6 hours at this point.
yeah.
Like imagine it, they got it for how long we've had it since
It didn't even get
1972
implemented.
to 1972 to 1981.
That's almost 10 years.
Like,
Yeah, that's
and
crazy.
it even if martial law is actually lifted, all the presidential powers are still intact if the president has done something to keep it intact after lifting martial law.
Mm.
Right? Like in our case, it took how many years before EDSA, right, Ian?
Yeah, yeah.
Before the
Around
ousting of Marcos.
5 years.
Yeah.
Took 5 years from the lifting of martial law to 1986. So yeah,
So
and I think the
technically,
last time,
even if martial law was actually lifted, all of us under it until Marcos was actually ousted, we were still experiencing martial law back then,
mhm,
like unofficially. So in terms of what happened with South Korea, I figured it's just the president having panic attacks.
most likely
Yeah.
because even his own party is disowning him.
Yeah. So explain to
MPs
us,
from
Chris,
his own party
why he
are
actually
siding with the
imposed it.
opposite with the no, with the with the other MPs. Yeah, that's how crazy it is.
So Chris, why did the South Korean president actually impose martial law?
That's the thing. I'm not under. I don't even understand it really.
From what I heard earlier, because this was so quick, the turnaround
Yeah,
time was like a fast food. Like
Hmm.
it seems like there was an issue regarding his budget proposal for, I don't know if it's for this year, for 2025, that he's asking for certain 100 trillion won, and at least I guess 4 trillion was actually denied to him by the opposition, which is the Democratic Party. Four
Yeah.
trillion out of 100 trillions, like that should be a small thing for him, but it
Hmm.
seems to him like it's a make it or break it deal. That it felt like there are the opposition is actually planning to destabilize his government. I don't get how much I don't get much on regarding the politics regarding South Korea. Like there are talks regarding North Korea being brought in,
Yeah,
Yeah.
like
that was
Yoon
what
Suk
caught
Yeol,
me.
propagandas and cases regarding doctors who are currently striking being brought back into operation, and their strikes actually were terminated during martial law because that's part of it. Like there's no protest that actually has to be going on. 6 hours
And
after, like that's just a
not
panic
even
attack.
6 hours. It's not even 6 hours. It's not even three. It's less than three.
Like I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
so
think it
that's
was
it.
I don't
If
know,
anyone can
late.
actually have no more details on us, they can probably correct us in the
Mm,
comment section or in the chat. But that's how far I know it.
yeah. I mean, there was even a controversy about Yoon Suk Yeol's wife receiving an expensive bag. I think it's a Dior bag. I'm not sure, but yeah.
Yeah, but
Uh,
it is a matter for the South Koreans to actually digest. Like, we're gonna be
exactly. But
discussing the
But
what do you call it,
it's
martial law
surprising.
here.
mhm.
It's surprising to me because I felt like of all the nations on Earth, Korea, the way Korea kind of governs, I assumed was the most similar to the U.S.
You think?
You know, yeah, like I thought they were just like they were living in the prosperity. Like they're. I mean,
Their political
what when
system
was
is
it?
similar to France, not the
You
U.S.
think they're
because they have a
parliamentary?
prime minister.
I figured
Yeah, but
they'd
I'm
be the
saying
most
like
distant when it comes to the U.S., particularly in culture.
in culture. Yeah, that's not what I'm talking about. Though. I'm
Yeah,
talking about
culture.
like the just how like their capitalism
Mm.
No.
is what I mean. You know what I mean? Like they're very like the government's not going to do anything crazy to fuck up the
Yeah.
bag. You know what I mean? Like
If
Mm.
yeah,
in
in terms
what in
of exports.
1950 there was like a mile of paved road in South Korea during the Korean War, and
Yeah.
then in what in less than 75 years now they're like the fifth fastest growing economy in the world or something. Like
Yeah, because they
what
were
they've done
smart
in
when it
less than 100 years is
they were smart
incredible.
when it comes to their exports, because their exports can be
Hmm.
seen by some as an invasion because they export culture. It's the
Yeah.
same thing that
Well,
Catholics have done throughout the years when they actually invade a country. They export religion.
Mhm.
Theirs is actually more an entertainment. Y-
I
And
mean,
the
it's similar to the
ramifications of
British invasion of the 60s and 70s.
Yeah.
yeah. And the
They have one
ramifications
of the
would
biggest entertainment
definitely
industries in the world. Like,
and the ramifications of this event could actually influence the cultural impact that the Koreans would have moving forward.
Yeah. Well, it's definitely, I mean, it's going to hurt. I mean, it hurts everything, right? It's fucking, it's like, wait, what? What's happening over there?
I don't think the
Like,
influence of South Korea would actually be affected just by this. For first off, what effect would it have for America? It's major market right now.
true.
For us here in the Philippines, what effect would it have? Unless that martial law actually was implemented completely for a decade, or maybe in the minimum of 2 years. What's more surprising to me is the Korean president. What was his name? My apologies to
Yoon
South
Suk Yeol.
Koreans. Yoon Suk Yeol. It's just his second year. He has 3 more years.
Mm.
Like you suddenly being triggered in your second year to actually push the panic button. Like
Yeah.
What kind of
The
threat
thing,
you were actually worried about?
yeah, the thing is, uh, the recent general elections, uh, made him a minority president because his party lost the majority of seats in their parliament.
Hmm.
That's the problem.
Yeah, that's the dumbest shit ever. You know the people are actually looking at you with a microscope. That's why your party lost. All of a sudden declaring martial law. Would you be surprised if your people suddenly asked for your resignation?
Well, the Koreans are already shouting
Yeah.
for
Of course.
his
Yeah.
resignation
And his
in
statement
the
is
hours in the
and his
hours that
statement
this
is I'm
happened.
not resigning. Like they would have 3 more years of him. He'd be out of office by 2027. Like do South Koreans that are pissed off right now because of the jump scare that they experienced would be
Yeah.
waiting
That
until
was
2027? Like this dude
no.
is unhinged. Like
Yeah. Martial law is
As unhinged as Duterte, I guess.
no.
martial
Worse
martial
than
law is a
Duterte?
No, Duterte has
extreme.
a follow through. This dude doesn't have any.
Oh shit.
Yeah. Duterte had kind of a valid reason too, right?
Like there's the reason why I bring Duterte a level above him is because when Duterte tells us that he will be doing this thing, we believe him.
Mm.
Like presidency is all about trust. If this dude actually makes any declarations during his remaining 3 years, no one would actually support it. Like you're just
Right.
blowing hot air. Like you can't even commit to a martial law.
Well,
Not
he
even a
got
day.
overruled.
Not
I
even try it
read
out.
I read somewhere that
What a waste of a martial law button.
Yeah.
but no, he had tried it, and he had like soldiers guarding like the Senate, I don't know, Parliament or whatever the hell they have, and
Parliament
uh
building.
the other lawmakers forced themselves by the soldiers and went and voted to shut it down.
Yeah, that's the most that's the most noble thing that they have done, and the stupidest thing that Yoon you Yoon allowed.
Yeah,
I don't think he allowed it.
one thing about martial law is if you don't get the support of the military, it won't amount to much.
Yeah, that's the whole thing. That's the whole thing. It becomes a authoritarian military occupation of
Yeah,
your
and
own.
I think that proved why the military actually didn't actually respect that decision because it was a he was really pussy when it comes to actually committing.
Yeah.
But in other political news, I want to get y'all's what do y'all
Your
think about Joe
twisted.
Biden pardoning Hunter?
That's to be expected, right?
I mean,
Well, it he said over and 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 over that he would not. But we all know Joe Biden's a liar. We know
blood
this.
is
So
thicker than water. That's basically my commentary.
But then again, if
and
you think about it, he gets to
he
be
also did
tried
a
again,
nice
right? After that,
no. No.
he can't be tried again.
The no. The once you get a presidential pardon, you're done. You're done. There's nothing anybody can do.
Yeah, you think it's
But it
scummy, but
was
I think it's smart on his part because at this point, does he actually want to have any more political career after his presidency?
I mean,
Yes. I guess he
It's
really
already
just wanted
game
to
over for him.
retire.
Like
He's a lame
it's his
duck.
final sacrifice for his kid. Like any
yeah.
father would actually think about that if the option is actually available to them. I'm not saying it's right, but if you're a dad that you love your kids, you would do anything for them, regardless of how dumb they are. That's why a lot of kids are still alive
Yeah.
of all the saving that their parents have been doing.
I was saved a lot as a kid for sure. My grandpa used to
Right?
bail me out all the time.
See? So it's only logical he would do it. At the twilight of his years that he has nothing else to live for besides his grandkids.
Mm.
Right? And he
He's
doesn't
gonna go
actually have
anytime
any
though. So
political
yeah.
aspirations after this one. I don't think any
Yeah.
of his family members have any political aspirations after this. Even Jill.
Yeah.
Well, what gets me is not that he pardoned him, like you said. That's I mean, you know,
Yeah, it's the
it's
same
expected.
accusation as being posed on Trump.
But what he said was that's what it is. It's the gaslighting that annoys me. He's like, they're only attacking Hunter Biden because he's my son. Like, well, that's not entirely true
Why so?
because Hunter Biden was selling influence,
Yeah,
Hmm.
being the
which
son
is
of the
illegal.
president. Yeah,
No, when Joe Biden was vice president, he
Yeah.
was selling access to Joe Biden,
son of
Oh.
a politician.
son of the vice president.
Yeah,
Um, he received ridiculous amounts of money from Ukrainians. He had a job on a Ukrainian gas company on the board. Like this whole thing was, he was selling influence, which is treasonous. Also to China, there's so many documented, there's so much documented evidence that he was selling access to his father, and I think all that would lead a trail back to Joe Biden and his treasonous behavior. We all know Joe Biden is in the pocket of China. We know this. That's why he's trying to start World War III now.
Yeah.
Like, why would you give Ukraine long-range missiles right at the end of your term? There should be some law against that. Like, once you lose the election, the remaining 3 months or whatever it is, you should be, your power should be limited.
Yeah. Let me ask you
sounds
this,
fishy.
Chris. Your
Really is.
constitution has a lot of amendments.
A
Why do
lot
you
of
think a lot
amendments.
of those amendments haven't actually been used? Like, you can actually amend your constitution, but why do you think it hasn't been done for decades now?
I don't know. That's a good question.
How many amendments does the Constitution have?
You can
25?
amend the constitution how many times you like. It just needs to be passed Congress. Like, that's why you have the Second Amendment, because laws actually change.
There's been 27 amendments.
See?
27. And the first 10 is the Bill of Rights, right?
Yeah.
So nothing is actually concrete. Like, if you're saying me that it's only logical for what you're asking regarding terms of presidency when he's actually outgoing, I don't think this is the first time that that issue has come up. Why do you think the constitution hasn't been changed regarding the presidency? Like, even the thing regarding blind trust for presidents, putting their businesses in a blind trust, surrendering their tax returns, it's not actually in the constitution, but every president actually does it, just in terms of faith. Why hasn't it been changed? Like, if you dig deeper, I guess you can find a certain interest regarding it not being changed.
The 27th Amendment, the last amendment was done in 1992.
See?
I
And
mean,
what
but
was
that's within my lifetime. That's relatively recent, I think, right?
yeah, what was
Is it
the
not?
amendment back then?
What was that fucking thing?
Either way, Chris, you're the American here, so yeah, we're just curious about uh, your opinion about this, or at least Christian's question.
What was the 27th Amendment?
Like, if amending policy in the US was such an easy thing, background checks for gun possession is actually going to be on the docket and would have been passed about 6 years ago.
27th Amendment is. I can't find it. I don't know how these fucking things work.
I think it's
You
the
would have to ask.
salary. I think it's the salary of lawmakers.
I think the
You would have
reason
to
why
ask,
amendments haven't been used is because people have been skirting around it just because of the donors, that of the politicians that actually are in office are going to be hurt. Like,
I think it's something that you can't just do willy-nilly, right? Like, these have to really be like
Willy-nilly?
serious. Yeah.
New Zealand passed a gun ban in the span of hours after the Christchurch shooting. Like, the Beehive actually passed it unanimously
Yeah, but
without
you
even
know,
thinking. They implemented a buyback of guns within a week. Like, it can be done.
But then again, New
And
Zealand is a
these are
very
at the
small
height of
country
and
compared to the
let me give
United States.
yeah, let me give you
So
information regarding New Zealand at that time. It was the height of when two parties were really at each other's throats.
hmm,
Like U.S. politicians are like really courteous cousins. New Zealand politicians are like invaders,
Well, yeah.
and the
I
one being
guess it's the
invaded in a conflict.
Yeah, I guess it's the case for all Commonwealth parliaments. That's the same case with the United Kingdom, with Canada, and even their neighbors in Australia. So, yeah,
Yeah.
it's very rowdy.
Like, does the Philippines have any amendment regarding the declaration of martial law? Something we should have actually amended, right? That the president shouldn't have power complete, or
Yeah.
at least
I,
amended the powers involved in martial law. Do we have that, Ian?
I
I
think
can't
it
recall
was
any talks
discussed in the
regarding it.
1987 Constitution, but in practice, let's go back to Marawi in 2017. The city was under martial law, and yet the civilian powers held sway over the military.
But then
So
it's then again it's Mindanao. It's under a different. Might as well be a different country back there.
Yeah.
perhaps, but then again, the union's gonna be dissolved if that happens.
So I figured it's within the realm that when super PACs were actually made in the U.S., the certain amendments can actually be made because. Uh, Explain to me the super PAC. Chris. Is my understanding correct? Does that mean that actual donations to politicians is at infinity because of it?
Mm,
Campaign contributions are all of a sudden.
yeah. Unlimited.
Yep. Okay. So you would think whatever the Constitution actually holds, it enshrines the benefits of some parties if it's gonna be
Mm.
amended. That's why since 1992, no one has been daring to touch it because both parties actually thrive in campaign money. Like Kamala Harris actually demonstrated us how much they could get,
Yeah. They're in the hole now, apparently.
right? So, if anything, it's big money.
Oh, it's huge money. It's huge. That's
Like,
why they got so pissed off when Elon started the super PAC for to help Trump out. It's like, oh, this is bullshit. And it's like, why? Because he's fucking the richest man on earth. All of a sudden, y'all finna lose the super PAC battle.
I could argue he could actually donate even more. Like,
Oh God, he could fucking buy the whole thing. I mean, he basically has already.
he cheapened out.
Yeah.
Like
But yeah,
he could have probably thrown in a couple of broken down Teslas there.
did you hear the recent news? What he told Trudeau at dinner at Mar-a-Lago?
What? Trump?
So yeah. So him and Trudeau had dinner at Mar-a-Lago. And Ian, you can Google this and probably find the exact quote. But something to the point where Trudeau was like, "We can't if you raise the tariffs, Canada won't be able to survive." And Trump was like, "Well, if Canada can't survive on ripping the United States off at the tune of $100 billion a year, then Canada can become the 51st state and you can be the governor."
Well, maybe uh, Canada,
He's
as it is, would not be a sovereign country anymore, and all of its provinces would become states,
Yeah,
additional states.
that's what he was saying. But I mean, if Canada can't survive without ripping America off for $100 billion a year, then y'all what?
you're already part of the NBA, right? So at
Yeah. What was the
least make it
quote?
legit.
Let's see, Trump. And the source was two people at the dinner.
Yeah, but have you seen an
I
interview
think
with his
Trump
opposition?
said Canada is a broken shithole. Yeah, I think that's the quote.
No, no, that's not the quote. No,
That's not it. Oh,
no, this just happened. He said,
but for all intents and purposes, I think it's just a joke. So I
well, I
don't
mean,
know.
I mean, it's one of those. I think it's one of those jokes where it's like, obviously I'm joking, but I'm kind of not. You know what I mean? It's like you can't survive without taking $100 billion from us every year. Then we'll just absorb you.
Yeah, I mean, they're
Like, you know what I'm saying? It is a joke. Like, obviously Canada's not going to become the 51st state, but the underlying punch is you can't survive without ripping us off for 100 billion a year. You can't survive. Like that's the point he was making. It was masked with a joke, but the point is, what the fuck are y'all doing if you can't survive without us? 100 billion a year from us.
so basically he's half threatening,
Well, I mean, it's like a half joke. You know what I'm saying? It's like,
half joke, half threat,
yeah, it's like,
something like that.
oh, yeah, you can't survive without me. Well, that's too bad.
You can't survive without us. You might as well become the 51st state of the United States of America.
Trump suggests Canada. Yeah, yeah. Trudeau said the tariff would kill the economy. Uh,
But then again, Justin Trudeau is
cuck.
very much hated by some Canadians. So I guess that's also a good context to consider too. So
Just
yeah,
some.
I don't know if it's a majority, but I'm just playing safe. But I know there are some Canadians who hate Trudeau's guts. Not only because he's a stupid politician, but he's also a nepo baby. His dad was also a prime minister back then. Pierre Trudeau. Bloody hell. Those.
Yeah, everyone in Canada is actually getting on things late. Like there is this underlying joke back in the 2000s that Canada is still stuck in the 90s. I guess when it comes to wokeness, they're still catching up because when right now America is actually moving away from the woke stuff, Canada is still drowning in it.
Yeah, that's what I was reading here. I wanted to go on about so Trudeau told Trump he cannot levy the tariff because it would kill the Canadian economy completely. Trump replied asking, "So your country can't survive unless it's ripping off the US to the tune of $100 billion."
Yeah, the
Trump then
point that I was
suggested to Trudeau that Canada become the 51st state, which caused the prime minister and others to laugh nervously. But he continued, telling Trudeau that prime minister is a better title, though he could still be governor of the 51st state. And then someone else at the dinner said, if Canada became a state, it would be a very liberal state. So Trump, and then Trump suggested Canada could possibly become two states, a conservative and a liberal one. He told
Or
Trudeau that if he cannot handle his list of demands without ripping the U.S. off in trade, Canada should really become a state or two, and Trudeau could become the governor.
but I
I've
guess
seen
for
this video regarding to those biggest political rival. Like it's Pierre Poliver. Am I
Mm.
pronouncing it? I don't care if I pronounce his name correctly. But he was being interviewed in me in news, and the news, and a female newscaster asked him, like, "You are going up against Trudeau, blah blah blah. How would you fix tax issues regarding the economy? How would because prices have been up, uh, food prices have been up, fuel has been up." Instead of answering that question, he actually threw it back to the newscaster. Like, this is under Trudeau's governance. Why are you asking me this? Like, shouldn't you be asking him why prices are up under his governance?
Yeah,
Like,
it's
like why are you asking me now what I would do? But he then actually gave his points regarding the tax cuts and such. But it is a very prescient point. Like a newscaster trying to one up him and her being completely demolished by a non-answer.
Yeah.
And I think that's
A lot
basically
of
what Trump actually did there.
mm,
Like levying to the fact that you've been governing that country for how many years? You still have this issue? Like, I thought
But
you were
listen,
supposed to bring prosperity to everyone. How many years does it take you to actually do it?
no, I feel like that's the prosperity plan is
Yeah,
we can suck money out of the U.S.
Mhm.
You know what I mean?
but you
Like that's
can't
the plan.
anymore.
No, not anymore. Trump's like, what the fuck? No, y'all not, I'm not doing that shit. Uh, I seen another thing where Doge
Mhm.
or AKA the Musk
Gov-
Ramaswamy team up.
commission. Yeah, the
Um,
government
like
efficiency committee or
Department of
something.
Government Efficiency, yeah. Uh, they've already started like looking into a lot of stuff. Like the Pentagon failed like its seventh audit. There's billions of dollars just missing from the like. Nobody knows where this money's at in the Pentagon.
And
Um,
defense is a very hefty but has a very large sum in the budget.
oh,
So
it's ridiculous. It's fucking. It's huge. It's billions and billions and billions of dollars, and it's
I
just
guess
not there.
it's much larger than all the other slices combined, I guess.
Yeah. The IRS is the same way. They're losing. They're bleeding money. It's like, how are you bleeding money? You're the Internal Revenue Service. Like, you're supposed to have all the money. And there's one more where they were saying that the what do you call it? That federal buildings, even though no one's working in there, they're still running air conditioner, there's still lights on, they're still paying for security, and nobody's even in there. Like, you're paying, taxpayers are paying millions and millions and millions of dollars every year to air conditioned buildings that no one is in. Like these things, this is the definition of government inefficiency.
Yeah.
You're air conditioning empty buildings. That's
Yeah,
insane.
yeah.
And it's taxpayer money, which is, you look at how does America how is America $4 trillion in debt when there's that's how. That's how. Just
Yeah, the
fucking
government has a
throwing
lot of
money.
jobs program, don't you think? Like, I could still argue the Pentagon stuff is actually just a massive jobs program.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of shady shit that happens when it's
Yeah, because
looks.
we are in agreement that America as a superpower has at least 10 times the amount of firepower against any other superpower in the world, right? We
Yeah,
can all
Mhm.
agree with that. Like,
Yeah.
if
wipe
anyone
anybody
can
out
take a
quickly.
massive cut regarding weaponry, I think it's the Pentagon. It's defense. But no one actually wants to do it. Even if a Democrat actually sits down in the position, even if it's a Republican, no one wants to actually cut down defense because why? It's a jobs program.
Mm,
Yeah. And
defense is huge.
basically America's
I could argue that that's the
America's
reason why
famous
you
for
guys
its
have an issue with
guns.
healthcare.
America
Yeah,
is famous for its guns and firepower, so cutting the
Yeah,
defense
that's fairly
budget
obvious.
is a cardinal sin. I don't
but
know,
yeah,
but yeah, it is a cardinal sin.
but no, you're right. Like it's the same with healthcare.
Mhm.
Healthcare is a billion dollar industry.
Yeah,
Healthy people don't make money.
but not to the extent of funding that's being received by defense, like healthcare, education. If you look at the percentage of what they're receiving with the annual budget versus defense, even if you slice uh, at least 25% from the defense budget and put it in those two, the defense
Mm.
budget will still be really godly when it comes to how huge it is. Like, there's no contest.
Yeah, and that's the health thing is what RFK's that's his whole battle now.
Yeah, and the reason why some countries that are boasting that they have good health care doesn't have that much of a military power compared to the
Mm.
US. You also have to put that into consideration. If the US
Mhm.
actually put their funding in other places, like even diminish the defense by a couple of percent, they can actually compete with other countries that are actually forefronting their healthcare, their education. It's just that it's not happening.
Yeah,
I, I
it
I mean,
isn't.
yeah, you're right. That makes sense, but I don't think that's the main problem with U.S. health. The problem with U.S. health is you go to other countries. There's stuff in food in the U.S. that's banned in other countries. One of the more popular examples is probably the Fruit Loops in Canada versus the Fruit Loops in the U.S.
Mm.
Like the Fruit Loops in Canada and here too, but they're not the same. They're not as good because, well, they're just not. I think the ones here come from Thailand or something. But
Yeah.
Yeah,
like the Fruit Loops in the US are like this color blue
yeah. You know why that
Oh,
is?
because we got a bunch of illegal chemicals in our shit that's not
Not
allowed in Canada.
not just that, Chris.
not even in not just in Canada, but also in Europe.
Europe.
Europe has the gold standard when it comes to food safety.
Yeah, but they also have like the worst food on earth. We've already discussed this. So what do you want? Food safety or something that tastes like shit?
Yeah, the Brits
I'll,
are
I'll take my I'll take my
the Brits
chemicals
are
all day.
the first in mind.
I'll take my chemicals and deplete the national health.
Yeah, what was
As
I
long as
gonna
it tastes
say?
good.
Yeah, it's because the U.S. has a lot of lobbyists among all the other countries. You guys have a lot of lobbyists. Like,
Mhm.
if someone was gonna be sucking someone's dick, it's gonna be in your country in front of Congress. That's the reason why there's an issue.
And they're doing it in
Okay.
public too.
Like, I know that's graphic, but that's the reality of it.
Yeah, and not just one dick. They're gonna suck a lot,
Well,
and all of that in public. So, yeah.
a lot of powerful dicks in the U.S.
Somehow my joke
But
suddenly became cringe. Like,
but no, you're right. No, you're right though. You're right. Like lobbyists, again, it's the healthcare and the war machine. These are billion dollar industries, and healthy people, a healthy society doesn't make money.
like I
Why do
remember
you why do
back
you
in the
think?
90s, like there's such a thing regarding people battling sugar.
Mm,
Where's that now? In our country, particularly, the NutraSweet was actually all the rage back then. Where's NutraSweet now here in the Philippines? When the U.S. actually left
What's
the
that
basis,
even?
the basis
What's
here.
that even?
I forgot my. When the U.S. actually left here, along came NutraSweet with them when they left. So we got our sugar back.
yeah,
Oh, I see. So, it was
NutraSweet was a sweetener,
Yeah, it was an artificial sweetener. How can you make an
artificial sweetener.
artificial sweetener? That's still my
when they left
question.
in
Can't be healthy.
'91. We're back to sugar.
Like, main brand was actually Equal. I think that's still available in the US.
Yeah,
Equal.
and we have our own local brand too, Stevia.
I don't think that's local.
Stevia is organic. Like, it's
I don't think
nothing like
stevia is
the
local.
chemical.
So it's not it's not part of those sweeteners.
It's
It is a
some new
sweetener.
It is a sweetener, but
but
it's
it's some
not.
new age BS that actually came up with Whole Foods.
So stevia cannot go with the big leagues.
Splenda. Splenda. That's the one I was
Splenda.
Oh
trying to think of.
yeah,
That's one.
Splenda. Yeah,
Splenda was a big one. Stevia comes from Brazil.
oh,
Well, it comes from shit in Brazil. I don't know who got it. Probably, I mean,
There's so many things in the US that aren't even politicians that's a problem.
yeah.
So you would think in Canada, like they're US back in the 2010s now, if they're late by
Yeah.
by a decade. So I think that's what they're experiencing right now. And with Trump actually cutting off their access to the teeth to suck on,
Mm.
that would damage Trudeau.
I think Trudeau's already on his way out or more.
Mm, let's see. He should have been out a couple of years ago. He hasn't been that clean over the past couple of years. He's still in office.
Mm.
Like there's that perspective regarding it. And how tolerant Canadians can be. Like one I'm sorry from him could have been just the equalizer for some.
Right.
And let's not forget the Mexicans. My goodness. That's another problem.
What about the Mexicans?
Well, you know, not just the border, but also the drug cartels and all that shit. Yeah.
Oh, that's something else I wanted to ask y'all about. Did you see where uh Trump said he's gonna seek the fucking so did we talk about this the other day?
You weren't
Not
here the
really.
other
Damn, did
day.
Yeah, you were not here.
I dream this?
Oh,
I feel like I've already had this conversation.
we did?
I don't know. Well, let me finish what I was gonna say, then maybe you have no idea actually what I was gonna say, so but
Yeah.
I'll
he
just
said
shut
that
up for now and listen to you actually tell us your dream.
Yeah.
they said that they're gonna declare war on the cartels and they're gonna send special forces. So these are alpha units. These are units that killed bin Laden. These are units that found Saddam Hussein. These are units that take out people like Soleimani. They're going to send them on the cartel.
Tier 1 folks.
Mm.
Holy shit.
It'll be over. It'll be over in a couple days. The cartels will be
Yeah.
wiped out
I'm still
instantly.
skeptical regarding that, Chris.
Yeah.
I don't know, bro.
I would
I'm telling you.
it would still be
Sorry.
practical if it's tier 3, but
Nah, he's
tier
I'm
too
not.
close.
1,
Nah, these are fucking. These
I'm
are these
not.
are the elite of the elite.
I'm not putting it past the cartels and having people on the inside when it comes to the U.S. military.
Not special forces.
yeah, as I was
Mm,
saying, it would still be practical if it's tier 3
still not putting
guys or
it
the
past
tier
them.
3 units.
Not special
Maybe
forces. There's
tier
no way.
Would you
2,
think other
but
presidents
tier
actually
1?
didn't haven't thought of that?
There's no way they've infiltrated special forces.
Yeah, but
That
do you think
requires
other presidents actually haven't thought of that? That is the most elementary strategy when it comes to
no
actually
other.
dealing with outside
So
threat. Like
so why
just
has no
sending
one
in the
done it?
big guns. Like that's
Why has
a
no one done
very
it,
U.S. thing to do, Chris. Should have
Oh
been
yeah.
done
bro?
in the
It's
first place.
Yeah.
no. This has been a problem for years and years and years and years and years and years and years, and now it's getting even worse. Not only do they kill Americans, they human traffic,
Mm.
they traffic drugs. It's $1 billion industry. They abuse the shit out of people in Mexico. Like this is a humanitarian crisis beyond like, oh, we don't like you, this type thing. Like the shit that the cartel does is unimaginable, right? Like
Well, I
they
figured.
help a
So
family across
basically
the
they're
border.
running Mexico
Oh,
to
they run Mexico, bro.
Yeah, what I mean regarding that, Chris, is the solution for them right now is so elementary. Like it's basically the old joke of why haven't you led with this?
Mhm.
It's
And it's
true. Why haven't
basically
you?
Like
showing the big
I
stick.
figured every president with every one of their generals has actually thought of this. My question now is much more on why haven't they? If it's so elementary.
Bureaucratic, I imagine.
Bureaucratic
It's too close to
BS.
home.
It
Too close to
it's
home.
it's all that
Um,
it's all that's hindering it.
I mean, I think it's a no-brainer. Like, fuck, go and
Is
just
there an
wipe them
echo
out,
in my
dude.
mic?
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Just go in there and wipe them out. I support it 100%. Just fucking wipe them out, dude. Fuck them motherfuckers.
Well, I just feel like it's gonna be, and I'm not being pessimistic here. I'm just being realistic. Like a solution that elementary. I figured a lot of big brain people would have thought of it back then.
Oh, they thought of it.
The question mark right now is what hindered them actually from doing it, because there's a lot of things that that are just privy to them that the public isn't. There must be a reason. There really must be a reason. And I'm not like you said. It's $1 billion industry.
Well, it's the same reason that we send billions to Ukraine. It's the same bullshit reason that we talk about humanitarian
But
this and
but if you
humanitarian
think about
that,
this,
but
you can.
we don't go into North Korea where that's a real humanitarian crisis. People are starving and being shot with missiles in North Korea. Why don't we go there? It's the same reason.
And
because
the North Koreans themselves are fighting
Yeah,
in Ukraine.
but we have to also take into consideration, like, the U.S. actually not acting on these things as actually doesn't actually hurt the U.S. But the act regarding the borders within the U.S. actually affects them more.
yeah.
So it's more internal. The ones that you are actually talking to me are external issues. Even if the U.S. actually just ignores it, the Ukraine and Russian war would still be going on.
Mhm.
It would
Yeah,
still be
because it's
happening. Same thing with North Korea and the rest of the
mhm.
world. Like, the North Koreans actually seeing the U.S. as a threat. It's not actually a promise. It's more of a preemptive stuff, like
Yeah.
for people to just wait and see. Because even I
Okay.
guess America thinks the North Korea can't do anything against you guys. Like, we're kidding you.
So here is the quote from former Special Forces uh what's his name? Evan Hafer.
Mhm.
Quote on the Joe Rogan Experience. He said, "Bro, if we declare war on the cartels, these dudes are not going to understand what the fuck is going on. They're going to be in for a world of ultra violence they've never actually felt before because obviously they're a capable organization, but they have fucking no clue if we organize these tier 1 units against them. Like these are the elite of the elite. Like the only people that really fuck with us are the 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 British. Are they SFAS? What
SAS.
are they? SAS?
Yeah, yeah, the
Yeah,
SAS.
like they're fucking up there. They're badass fucking dudes. And the German ones. Nobody else really fucks with us.
GSG-9. I think the Germans have the GSG-9.
Mm. These
Basically, it's
cartels,
the
these
police
are street
commando unit.
thugs. These are street thugs that have graduated by way of money
Mhm.
to being almost paramilitary. Like they have armored cars, they have military grade weapons, they have the funds to basically do whatever they want to do.
Mhm.
But they don't have the training, they don't have the knowledge, they don't have the technology. I'm telling you, 2 nights, it's done.
Yeah,
Yeah, again,
not
I would
even
have
two
to ask.
nights. Maybe 24 hours tops.
Well, we only work at night because we own the night.
Yeah, again, I would still ask, why haven't you led with that?
That's the thing. There hasn't been a politician like Donald Trump.
So let me just ask:
And now we
Is
have the
there a
Senate and the
possibility that
House.
Trump would? Is there a possibility that if that Trump would do this once he
Mm,
gets back to in office?
I think first step, secure the border. Right, that's first step. Obviously, we don't want to go to war with the cartel. We want to push them out, keep them out. Stay in Mexico. Fuck y'all. You stay there. That's not our problem. But if they continue to be a problem for the U.S., it could escalate to something like this. But I think first things first, secure the border. Because we got military age people from China coming in. We got people from uh, the Middle East coming through. Like it's not just South America and Mexico and Central America. Like it's not what it is anymore.
Yeah.
It's the whole world is sneaking across the southern border. Chinese people coming across the southern border? Why? Why? Why?
And how on earth?
Who's doing it?
How
Who's
the
funding it?
fuck did the Chinese get to Mexico in the very first place?
It's
Because
you can't tell me
Mexicans
this
are
isn't a
somehow discriminatory when it comes to other races. I don't know, but
well, I don't know, but I mean somebody's funding it. Like who's funding it? And what's their purpose? Like
yeah.
I know it sounds very conspiracy theory like, but you have to look like why are military age Chinese men creeping into the US through the southern border? Like why?
It's also the same question as to why on earth are we having those kind of people, military age Chinese men in uh offshore gaming operations here in the Philippines?
Well, yeah,
That's also the same question.
but
And
y'all are
you know
right down
what?
the street
And you know what?
from China.
We
Like
should have
you're
been wearing tinfoil hats for all of this. You know?
But yeah, my point is, it is the same. It is the same. But Philippines is right down the street from China. We're on
Yeah.
the other side of the world. Like
So
who is what is it, a boat? Are they flying them into Central America at night? Like, how is this happening?
mhm,
You can't tell me it's not an invasion. It's an invasion.
yeah, even South American countries are experiencing or encountering Chinese fishing boats. I don't know what Latin
Well, that
American
leads
country it is. Most likely it's Chile or Argentina.
that's another that's another thing that China's doing. Like the Chinese money trap. You don't know about that? Where like
Yeah, yeah.
they lend these poor
Sri
countries
Lanka,
money.
Sri Lanka is victim number one.
There's a lot of victims now. Like they're hitting Africa now, South America. They lend these countries money that they can't pay back, and then they take over control of like their ports and stuff.
Oh shit. Yeah.
You know,
Yeah,
strategically, like it's a genius move.
originally they used the Philippines as practice for that thing.
Mm,
Yeah. And
yeah. Y'all was like the litmus test.
Yeah.
not just us. Basically the whole first island chain.
People say that um, you get labeled as a conspiracy theorist most times. And from what I've learned over the last 4 years, a conspiracy theorist is only someone who hasn't been proven right yet.
Mhm.
You know, because most conspiracies that we've talked about, you know, COVID being like when you used to say COVID was released from a lab in China, everybody's like, oh, you're racist. That's xenophobic. It's a
Mhm.
conspiracy theory. Now we know it's true. So you
You
Yeah.
know what?
can't.
I was thinking. Maybe we should also have this segment, or we dedicate some of our podcast episodes to us doing all of this conspiracy theories, complete with tinfoil hats. All three of us. What say you guys?
I don't need a tinfoil hat because they can come on in if they want to. For years and years and years, right? People were discredited, belittled, shunned because of um, suspected alien contact or whatever. Now, U.S. government says, "Oh yeah, we know. Yeah, we've been tracking UFOs for 50 years. So you know, conspiracy theorists for 50 years. It's now no longer a conspiracy. So you can't tell me what I wanted to say is you can't tell me that what's happening at the U.S. southern border isn't an orchestrated invasion.
Hmm.
I mean, how do you get there from Africa? How do you get there from the Middle East? Like,
Hmm.
that's not cheap.
Yeah.
You know, I understand the people from South America walking. Like, they walk, bro.
Hmm.
They walk from like Venezuela,
All the way
which is
there.
crazy. Yeah, it's crazy. They walk so far.
Like
They,
Chris,
they
regarding cargo from China, how smooth is actually the shipment when it comes to cargo from China to the
To the
U.S.?
U.S. Oh, I don't know. Probably. I imagine it's pretty streamlined at this point.
Pretty streamlined. When you compare to
Hmm.
the how stringent the checks are when it comes to cargo coming from South America, which do you think is actually much more stricter? Something coming from China or something coming from South America?
South America, for sure.
See?
Mhm.
Because of the cocaine. Because of the cocaine.
Yeah.
Because the priority of shipping when it comes to stuff coming from China, because the majority of stuff coming from China is actually involved with tech companies there in the U.S. Do you think
Hmm.
it wouldn't be
Yeah.
hard for them to smuggle people with that priority?
Even drugs. Even
Even
drugs.
drugs?
Well, yeah, I
Like,
mean, they're bringing in fentanyl. All the fentanyl is coming from China. It's coming across the southern border.
Yeah.
People is not happening
when it
Not
comes
just
to,
on
fentanyl,
a large
not
scale.
just cocaine, methamphetamines too.
because
Hmm.
if we want to look at something like an invasion happening of the Chinese, you would have to revert back to something that people actually dreaded back in the 2000s, which is actually profiling.
Hmm.
I mean, yeah, profiling is not good,
See?
but I mean, these aren't. This is the amount. This knowledge comes from capturing these people crossing illegally into the U.S.
Mhm.
If they could ship them in containers, I mean, I imagine they would.
You have
But they're
coyotes,
flying them
right?
or boating them to somewhere in Central America, and then they're walking their asses right across the border.
They have coyotes in for Mexicans, right? What do they have for the Chinese? Floating dragons.
The dragon's the best thing I could
It
think of
has to
too.
be a cool name, right? Coyote is actually a cool name,
Coyote's pretty cool, yeah.
right?
I guess it would still be a coyote, right? Because I mean, they're desert dogs, basically.
Mm. Still a cool name.
At
It has
least
to be
it's not dingoes.
Yeah. Dingoes that eat your baby.
Hmm. I heard that was true,
Or
right? There was news about it.
I remember hearing about that when I was a kid, and they used to also talk about mountain lions would come in. They could smell that a woman was pregnant, and they would break into the house at night and
Mm.
like try to eat the fetus.
Ugh.
Yeah.
And I remember being a kid and being like terrified.
Who wouldn't?
Right? Yeah, I was like 8 years
Do
old.
they
Like
have
Jesus
mountain
Christ!
lions where you were actually living?
Oh yeah, mountain lion.
Really?
We got mountain lions. We got bobcats. All kinds of shit. Bears. We got all kinds of fucking shit that'll kill you. Poisonous snakes.
Are you sure that's not Australia?
No, it's Harlan County. We got a shitload. I mean, we're the Harlan County black bears.
Yeah. Because
So let's turn
Australia
into Australian
also
there
has some
for a second.
deadly shit. Even the kangaroos can kill you if they kick you in the head or something.
Yeah, Australia's a place where like I don't think humans are supposed to be there.
But then again, it's been populated.
Yeah, let's move to something lighter, Chris.
Yeah.
And-
To end
Yeah, have
this,
you heard the entire album, GNX?
I have not.
You haven't?
No, I
Who's,
haven't listened to the whole thing.
who's the artist behind it?
I think
Kendrick.
this might be my second favorite from Kendrick after Good Kid, Mad City.
Mm.
Like
I love Good Kid, Mad City, man.
he channeled his
No,
inner
the-
Eminem and Tupac here at GNX.
No shit. Yeah.
So
He looks like Tupac in one of the photos promoting the album. He looks
Does
like
he?
Tupac. I don't know if he looks like Tupac, but he
that,
exudes the spirit of Tupac. Exudes the spirit of Tupac Shakur.
I really like Damn. I like almost every song on Damn.
really, but Damn has the weakest ballads among all the albums.
I don't know, man. I
Like
like Damn.
you told me you didn't like actually Luther, right?
Yeah, I don't really fuck with that shit.
I like it. You know why? Because that's one of the songs that actually he demonstrated that he's a better Drake than Drake.
I don't know if he's a better Drake than Drake, man.
He is.
I don't know if I can go with you on that one.
As someone who actually does music, I think he is.
I don't know.
Like, if you've heard the difficulty in the harmonies that he's been doing and that shit, like the duet and the flow,
Mm.
it seems like he's been a seasoned R&B artist for quite some time.
I mean,
it's just
I'll
you
never
mainly don't fuck
discredit
with
his
something.
talent.
Yeah, but
But-
I think you wouldn't actually fuck with anything about Luther Vandross, right?
I just
You're
don't
more-
think he can out Drake.
I think he
Drake
did.
kind of owns that lane.
I think he did. At this point, Drake can never be street anymore, right? With the lawsuit.
No, God, that's the Jewish side of him coming out.
Oh shit.
Like, hit him where it hurts, bro. Like, you can't beat him lyrically. You can't beat him musically. You can't beat him culturally.
Yeah.
Sue him.
Like it is kind of weird. Like they're
Beat
I
him
don't know if
legally, that is.
I don't know if it was actually confirmed. Like, did the NFL actually consider putting on Lil Wayne instead of Kendrick? Just a couple of days ago, I think this news actually popped up.
I don't know if they considered it. I just feel like there's a Super Bowl every year. They just did the West Coast, 2 years ago?
But would you think Jay-Z would actually allow that, be hated by not actually being able to, people not being able to sing to Not Like Us?
I don't know, man. It's New Orleans, man. It's Lil Wayne.
Have
Like
we
it's
heard have
it
we
was the
heard
perfect.
any comment regarding from someone from New Orleans that actually clamoring for Lil Wayne? Because to me, what Lil Wayne, as good as he is, he owned what era of hip hop? 2007 to 2011. It was all him, right?
I would say, yeah, that's about right.
2000. That was Wayne's era. Like I would argue, he's still
Hmm.
good, but I hated the fact that he felt hurt when he was actually not called up when Kendrick was actually brought forth. I figured he should just have waited, not said anything. Because if I was gonna be Kendrick, if I was gonna be performing in New Orleans and they suddenly asked me who do you want to actually bring up, Wayne would actually be on top of my list.
Yeah, but I mean, they got what song they got? They got Mona Lisa together.
Yeah, but
What
the
else?
thing
Do they have
about
other
that
songs?
is he can't actually do that anymore. Since if he's gonna be inviting Lil Wayne to actually come up after Wayne actually made his statement, it would just make it look like the invitation was out of pity instead of just a surprise.
Yeah, but I just think out of GP, man, for general purpose and just respect for the culture. It's in New Orleans. Lil Wayne is from New Orleans. Lil Wayne's a huge act.
Yeah,
Also a huge football fan. Like Lil Wayne knows his sports. He's on
yeah,
ESPN all the time.
but Wayne hasn't had any momentum back then. I would argue they actually missed the boat in actually getting him uh, to do a halftime for the Super Bowl back into 2008 to 2011 when he was actually popping off.
I don't know, man.
The only qualification this time for him being on a halftime show was actually it's his hometown.
And he's a legend.
Mm-hmm.
Like he's a legend. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, he is a legend. Like
You know what
there's
I
no
mean?
doubt
Like he
about that.
doesn't.
But the way
He's
he actually
already.
went about it, like
I'd be pissed too, dude.
Mm-hmm.
I would not be happy.
you think?
Yeah, I'd be fucking pissed, bro. It's New Orleans. I'm from New Orleans. I'm the greatest rapper alive.
Is he the
And
only
y'all,
rapper in New Orleans?
he's the biggest one. Who has to go put up their fucking baby? That dude can't rap for shit. Somebody else from Cash Money? That shit ain't happening. Who else you got coming out of New
Yeah,
Orleans? That's
if
it.
you were, here's my deal with you regarding this one. If you were actually organizing the Super Bowl and Super Bowl halftime is a big thing.
Yeah.
Mm.
Like there should be the genre should be diverse. It should be for everyone, right? Everyone can actually enjoy it.
Mhm. Yeah.
And in terms of the repertoire of Lil Wayne, is there a particular song where it's just him that can actually carry an entire Super Bowl halftime without actually bringing on features?
But I mean, that's the thing. Everybody has features now,
Like, I
even at the
mean,
Super
yeah,
Bowl.
but if you think about it, Bruno Mars actually headlined Super Bowl. It's just him. His only feature was Red Hot Chili Peppers, but the entire thing was actually driven by him. Lady Gaga, did she actually have features during her
I can't
halftime?
believe those people even did the halftime show. That's fucking bananas. Lady
Michael
Gaga, Jesus
Jackson,
Christ.
did he actually have features? Right?
Michael Jackson shut it.
Beyonce.
But
Beyonce?
Michael Jackson does not count. He shut the whole fucking shit down.
You know what
So
happened?
Yeah,
Because
basically,
what
Michael
that's a
Jackson's the
different
exception.
That's a different stratosphere.
you know what
Uh,
actually I think did I tell you the story before regarding Michael Jackson doing the Super Bowl on why it actually started?
I don't think so. No.
It's because the Super Bowl was actually being beaten yearly in ratings by the WWE,
Mm, that
by
makes sense.
WrestleMania. It was actually being held at the same time. So what they thought was, we need something that actually boosts the ratings. The first name that actually came to mind was actually just Michael Jackson. They went to the top.
Yeah.
So it took pro wrestlers for the halftime show to actually happen. Because before, what was the halftime show? It was just usually marching bands, right? Doing exhibitions.
Yeah.
So they had to step it up. But anyway, in a tangent, like that is my case. If Lil Wayne can actually carry an entire halftime show with just him,
Mm-hmm.
his discography is crazy. He could just do the Carter. He could just do the Carter 2, and I'd be happy.
But how many songs can you actually do for a halftime show that he can
Okay,
actually carry by himself?
you got to look at it like Dr. Dre and Eminem, right? They had Dre, Snoop, Eminem, Kendrick was there, 50 Cent was there. So if you bring in Eminem, then you're going to bring in all the Young Money. You're going to bring in Nicki Minaj. You're going to bring in Drake. Um, you know, he's got songs with fucking everybody. Like
Yeah.
he's got remixes of songs where he merged, like
Yeah,
you
but
said on the track.
Dr. Dre
You know,
wasn't actually brought on to the Super Bowl because of his music. It was actually brought on during that time because he was given a star in Hollywood Walk of Fame.
yeah, but that's the thing. Like the Super Bowl halftime show isn't representative of what's hot now. It's not a stage for what's hot now. If that's the case, then the fucking the baby would be on there. You know what I'm saying? Like that's not what the Super Bowl halftime show is. Super Bowl halftime show is something that you didn't know you needed until it happened, right? Like I didn't know I needed a full fucking
Yeah.
performance by, you know, a certain artist. Like, oh shit, who's doing it? Oh, okay. You know what I mean? Like if it was the poppin' shit at the time, it wouldn't be what it
Yeah.
is.
But you're looking at it in the culture perspective. I'm looking at it more in the business side of things. Like these people are sponsors that are actually deciding on who is going to be showing up in the Super Bowl. Like which of the two would actually be much more marketable in terms of ad expense. Like if we're going to be getting Lil Wayne in terms of collabs, we're going to have to pay those collabs. If we're going to be Kendrick, who are we going to be paying? Kendrick can basically just carry the entire concert to himself.
Yeah, but it's a matter for me. It's a matter of
And at
respect,
the
man.
same
It's not
time, he's
even.
actually fresh off the beat with Drake, and he has the number one song for the entire summer. And even thanks to Drake, he still has the number one song on Spotify because that thing actually blew up again with a lawsuit. That, that's the stupidest thing ever. Bringing up that song again when people are actually having enough time to
Listen to
actually
it
at
again.
least forget it.
You know, I think like it's just for me as a hip hop fan. I love Kendrick. I probably put Wayne and Kendrick maybe in my top three,
Yeah,
um, all time. I love both of them so much. Um, you know, Kendrick got me through. Well, I go back to Lil Wayne. Lil Wayne's music got me through my deployment in 2000. What was it? 2008 to 2010, roughly.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he was killing it, right? That's the first time I heard Drake. I was in Iraq. I
yeah.
was like, who the fuck is this Drake dude? Oops, you need a blues coupe, or what is it? Maybe you need a blues coupe. Oop, I'm in your red clue. Wayne's here, Sue. Like that song.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, so Lil Wayne, I vibed to Wayne. My first duty station in Korea, all through Iraq. After I like Lil Wayne has been on my shit for years and years and years and years and years. And then I downloaded Good Kid, Mad City. Hadn't really heard of Kendrick Lamar. Downloaded Good Kid, Mad City. Went to the box in California for 18 days.
Yeah,
Was supposed to surrender my cell phone. I did not.
yeah,
And I vibed out to Kendrick for 18 days, just that one album, and became a huge fan. So I put them kind of here as far as like I love them both, but out of respect, it's in New Orleans. It's got to be Wayne. It's
yeah.
got to
But
be Wayne.
my point in this is, I do get why Wayne should be in Super Bowl halftime in New Orleans, but I can really understand why they chose Kendrick at this point.
First off, the money's not a thing because they charge, I don't know how much they charge for a 30-second advertisement spot during the Super Bowl.
But it's gonna be hefty. It's hefty.
Yeah, the
Even a
30,
15-second ad is gonna be very, very hefty.
I don't even know what it is. How much is, let's see.
It's gonna cost upwards of $1 million.
Bro,
That's for
millions
sure.
fucking pocket change.
I can still understand why they chose Kendrick. Like he's been the most
30 second, a
active.
30-second Super Bowl ad costs $7 million.
At the very least, $7 million.
A 30-second spot to air during the 2024 Super Bowl cost $7 million. That's 30 seconds.
Yeah.
It's just
And
I
hence
mean,
the
how much do they make
advertisers
just on
actually have.
advertising?
Yeah, hence the advertisers having a vote on this.
I mean, Kendrick would be great. I love
Anyway,
I love a good Kendrick performance, but Wayne's the answer. Wayne's the choice.
anyway, seven
No.
million for 30 seconds.
I can still see why they'd want
That's
the
what she
Pulitzer
said.
Prize actually winner actually doing the Super Bowl if you're an advertiser.
Mm. But yeah, I mean,
It's
if it's
not
in
discounting
California,
Wayne's achievement in any way. It's just this time is actually for K Dot. It's a perfect time to actually do marketing with him since it's actually popped off for the entire summer. And I would, anyway, I would still argue, like the Dre thing. He's already done a Super Bowl. I think it's Wayne's time, but I can understand why they chose Kendrick.
I mean, I can understand why. I just don't think they should have.
Yeah, and Eminem being in the Dre thing, then all of a sudden 50 Cent.
Yeah, 50 Cent
Like
surprise
50
appearance.
wasn't actually even Dre's guy, it was Eminem. But they
Yeah.
actually Eminem pulled some strings to actually get him. I don't know. I wouldn't actually put it past Kendrick to actually invite Wayne as a double act for this one as a surprise for everyone.
He
But then
still
again,
might.
that would look like something out of pity in
I
front
don't
of
think
people.
so. I think
You
it would
think?
be a.
You
I
think
it
the
would
media
be-
couldn't actually spin it that well?
They can, but I think the real hip hop heads would be like, no. Wayne's on grown man shit. Kendrick's on grown man shit. Like, who gives a fuck? Let's get them both
Yeah,
out there. Fucking let's go.
And how would that look for Drake?
Well, Drake
If that
probably would be very
actually
happy.
happened with Will Wayne and Kendrick both on stage, like Wayne has been completely neutral in this
Mm.
beef. Like him being sharing a stage with Kendrick. Like Nicki
Yeah, I don't
already
know, man.
spoke up, right?
Yeah.
And Birdman.
Yeah,
I
but
mean,
don't nobody
hopefully
really
it's
give a fuck what
a
Birdman
good
got to
show.
say.
Like we're also wishing Wayne could have done this. Who knows? The NFL might change their mind.
Mm,
Well,
I mean, I'm
still a
not
few
gonna.
months away from the next Super Bowl, so
Either of them would be
they
actually
have
good.
a lot of
month.
time.
No, we're like 8 months, maybe. When's the next Super Bowl? When's Super Bowl 20?
It's
What is
February,
this?
right?
Early Feb, no?
Yeah.
February 9.
So whatever decision that they wanna do, they wanna have to do it quick.
Oh, they've already have them for the next 5 years.
No shit. They're that advanced.
Well, yeah, these stadiums gotta have time to catch up. So, okay, let's see. Future Super Bowl locations. Okay, the next one's in New Orleans.
Yeah.
The next one's in Santa Clara, California. Then the next one's in Los Angeles, and then the next one's in Atlanta.
Would you,
Like-
if you were part of the board for the Super Bowl, the decision-making body, would you switch the two and actually give way for Wayne now and just move Kendrick for next year?
Yep. It would have never been a question in my mind. Wayne does the Super Bowl in New Orleans.
Do you think they already had that in mind? But all of a sudden,
He wanted to.
Kendrick actually suddenly popped off before, and they had to
I
change
think-
things.
I think they are, and no offense, I think they are mistakenly following your train of thought on this. And they're ignoring the fact that there's a legend in that city that should be
Yeah.
doing the halftime performance.
Hopefully, you're right because I haven't seen anyone actually online actually trying to push that agenda forward.
I mean, Wayne said he wanted to. He said it a while back. He's like, "Yeah, I'd love to do the Super Bowl."
Yeah,
in New
even back
Orleans."
then he was actually highly criticized for actually coming out regarding that because people were actually hoping for him to actually be a surprise during the Kendrick stuff. Well, and everyone
mean,
actually
way
thought
before the
that he's
Kendrick stuff,
actually
like-
out of the table now.
He mentioned it years ago that he would love to do a Super Bowl halftime show in New Orleans. I don't know.
Is it the first time that actually the Super Bowl actually dropped in New Orleans?
No,
the decade?
not the first time.
Either way, yeah. they have to settle that before February.
Mm,
Something's got to give. Like,
This is the 11th time,
see?
tying with Miami for the most ever.
During the 2010s, when was
No
the last time?
shit.
During the 2010s, when was the last time
I feel
Super
like
Bowl was in
did
Miami?
they not? Okay, yeah. The reason that New Orleans is popular is because warm weather and it's a dome, so
Yeah.
it's not open to the elements. Makes for a perfect championship game.
So when was it?
Um,
Back in 2000 and 2011. Did the Super Bowl actually go to New Orleans during that time?
2013.
And who actually showed up in 2013? Who was actually?
Who was it? This is before Jay-Z took over. I guarantee you, it's some shit fucking like Coldplay or something. I don't even know who did it.
Dude, if it was Coldplay, I would be so pissed. Not this on Coldplay, but
Yeah, what's wrong with
oh,
Coldplay, by the way?
I would understand now why he was actually passed, because that was the year of Beyonce.
Yeah,
No, no dice.
yeah.
Yeah,
Beyonce headline with special guests Kelly Rowland and Michelle Williams.
yeah. There's no shot. Like,
Yeah. Yeah. So
there's
when
not,
was it before that?
there's not even a whisper regarding that. And Jay-Z wasn't actually in charge of the halftime show back then, right? When this
No, he's only
actually
been there
happened.
for that's 5 or 6 years.
So this was completely
2019, 4 or 5 years.
an independent decision. Because I don't understand how Super Bowl the decision regarding Super Bowl halftime performers are actually made. Is it by voting, or is it completely for the NFL to actually decide?
I don't I don't know who the fuck decides this shit, but I'm gonna tell you what, in my honest to God opinion, they dropped the motherfucking ball on this one. I love Kendrick. I love him. But
Yeah.
I mean, it's just
Money wise,
you
I
had
understand
you
what they're
had the
doing.
perfect halftime show.
Yeah, for the
And
artist.
now and if he doesn't do it now as a special guest or whatever, he's never gonna do it.
Yeah,
Why would you? I don't want to do
when
it.
you say perfect, it's for the artist. It's perfect for the
It's for the
artist.
culture. It's for the
It's for
game.
the culture. These are advertisers, Chris.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean,
Like, no matter
on,
how
Jay-Z, what
how
the fuck
much
you
you
doing
say
there?
that my reasoning is a mistake, it's the only reasoning that they're gonna be following.
But then
Yeah,
Even
again,
though I know it's a mistake, like I did tell you, my suggestion was get Wayne this year, in 2025, then get Kendrick out the next year, if they're gonna be doing Cali dates.
that's the thing. I mean, you're gonna put Wayne in because now I mean, what happens next year when it's in California? It's like, all right, you put Wayne in New Orleans, or you put Kendrick in New Orleans. Just put Wayne in California.
Hey,
but you know what? I'm just a bit confused as to why the NFL is doing doing halftime shows for the Super Bowl and not pre-game. Doesn't that isn't
There's 20
that
minutes
a
to
bit
kill.
impractical when it comes to the sport itself?
No,
I don't know.
no.
halftime shows are common because you got 20
Yeah.
minutes between halves, so you somehow can't just have people sitting there for 20 minutes fucking staring at the ball.
I guess that's a
Yeah, and that's your
Halftime
20
shows
minutes for
halftime.
actually. There's no advertising, by the way, while the game is happening. People are concentrating on the game. The only time people can actually see ads is during these halftime shows. So,
Well, unless you watch it on TV.
if you watch it on TV, you get ads. But
Yeah, I pay
who
$1
would
here
want
in
to
the
be
Philippines. I watch it.
distracted by ads right during the game?
The ads are some of some of the most entertaining shit on there.
Yeah,
Sometimes the
they
game
dedicate
sucks.
them. That's why these are big money ads that are dedicated in a single
Mm.
spot, right?
Yeah, I mean they bring out heavy hitters. I mean, the Doritos Mountain Dew ad with the the dwarf from Game of Thrones and
Yeah, Peter
Morgan Freeman,
Dinklage and Morgan
Peter Dinklage.
Freeman.
Yeah, it's huge.
Yeah,
Dinklage
and
doing the Buster Rhymes, right?
Yeah,
Look at me
Morgan
now.
Freeman doing Queen
Look at me
Latifah
now.
or Missy Elliott.
Missy Elliott
and last
for Morgan Freeman, right?
Mm.
yeah, and it's also an opportunity for some not necessarily famous brands to shine because last year I think Halo, the prayer app, ran a
Yep.
30 seconder app for
There
Lent.
was a lot of Jesus shit last year. There was.
Yeah, I
It was
mean,
like Jesus and Timu.
yeah,
It was. I
Yeah,
watched it.
yeah.
I watched the Super Bowl. I was
The
like, fucking
Halo app,
Timu?
the Halo app has the TV Jesus himself, Jonathan
I,
Rumi.
I guess Timo actually made that work because a lot of people have actually been
Timu blew up off that
doing
shit.
collaborative work with them after that ad. But what I last heard, they're actually bleeding money right now because of it.
No
They may be.
shit.
You wanna see some
That's
funny ass
why when you
fucking.
get a Timu delivered in your doorstep, it's not even boxed.
You wanna see some funny ass Timu content? Watch Nappy Boy Gaming when T Pain unboxes shit he bought from Timu. That shit funny. T Pain funny as fuck, man. T
Yeah.
Pain a funny motherfucker. He ordered a whole damn race car seat off of that bitch.
Did he actually get it?
Yeah, yeah. He does unboxings on his Twitch from Timo. That shit is fucking funny.
Was it ever good? Was it
It's
any
always
good?
good.
I mean, the
The
Timu
stuff,
stuff.
sometimes, sometimes it's legit.
So the car seat is actually legit.
He said he's going to build a whole race car off of Timo because he's got a racing company too. He's like,
That's
I'm gonna build
like
a
the
whole fucking
videos
car.
I've seen people building computers just off of Wish.
Mm, yeah,
What the hell?
Like let's see how I can stretch this dollar.
but yeah,
Yeah.
shout out T Pain. That he got some good ass, and he does the gaming. Like I laugh so hard watching him play fucking what's the monkey one? The one that like killed it. McJung, what's that shit called?
He's one of the
McJung.
earliest rappers who actually got into the streaming game when it comes
Mm.
to the Let's Play
T Pain
stuff,
funny,
right?
man. T Pain a funny motherfucker, dude. He just did Hot Ones like 2 weeks ago.
Oh, really?
Again.
Second time.
This is his second
Third, I
time,
think,
right?
maybe
Or
fourth.
Third.
He's been on there a bunch. Yeah, I think he's an old head. He was one
I
of the
think
first, I think.
I think he never left.
Yeah, he probably never
He's
left.
a
Yeah,
and he's a talent. He's a talented dude too.
he is
He
very
really
talented.
can sing.
Yeah,
It's not just auto tune.
but he cashed in on that auto tune sound though.
Yeah.
That motherfucker was everywhere. It's
Yeah.
like the question that you see sometimes. Where were you when T Pain
But
rhymed
But if
Mansion
you
with
take it into
Wisconsin?
perspective, Chris, we all know he can sing, but can his singing actually make a career? There's a lot of
Uh,
competition back then when he actually got a,
Yeah,
like there's Neo, there's Chris Brown. Do you think he's any
Yeah.
better than Chris Brown? Do you think he's better than Neo? Do you think he's better than Akon? Like
Yeah.
maybe
those
better
are-
than Akon, but actually Cher gave him a career, by the way, with Cher's
Cher.
introduction of autotune.
Seriously.
You
Cher.
didn't know the origin of autotune? It was a radar device. I mean, a sonar device that actually Cher actually used it as a vocoder when he did Believe back in the
Do you
2000s.
believe
Oh.
I got love?
It was a
Yeah,
pitch
that
correction tool. So had not been used,
Mhm.
like, yeah, T-Pain, you're allowed to share. Send her a
Mhm.
Christmas card.
Mhm.
Cher gonna live forever, ain't she? That motherfucker,
Have
boy,
you seen her?
that motherfucker was
A
old when I
recent
was
photo
young.
of her?
She was old when my mom was young. She was married and on TV when my mom was a kid.
Mm.
When was the last time I saw her in something? I think a movie back in the 2000s.
I don't know what she did last. I don't know if she had
Burlesque.
any
Have you
music.
watched that film?
Burlesque? No.
You haven't. It's a good film. It's highly underrated.
All right, fellas.
She
You watch that.
recently, yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
She
Go ahead, Ian.
recently went to Kelly Clarkson's show. Yeah,
Mm.
yeah. So that's that. She's still that
Okay.
relevant.
So she's still moving around. She's still slurking around Earth.
Maybe. Yeah. Not bad for a 78-year-old.
Bro, she's old as shit.
Yeah, plastic surgery is not actually merciful on your face when you reach that
No.
age. Like
But you know,
the age doesn't
still
even
going?
actually exist in the calendar anymore.
yeah, no, yeah. You imagine in
Unageable.
20, you imagine in 2,000 years when our civilization has disappeared and the next civilization starts digging shit up, they're gonna be like, what the fuck is all this plastic in here?
Like if they carbon 14 date you, they would give up.
Yeah, it'd be like, we're so confused. Some of her bones are 1,000 years old and her face is like it's made yesterday.
Why does
What's
her
this?
face actually has the stamp of recyclable?
Yeah. This bitch, her face got a serial number on it. What the fuck?
Barcodes.
Yeah.
Yeah, QR
That's what
code if you're
Yeah, it's like,
if
yeah,
you've done
scan
it
this
during the
shit.
2020s.
Not to mention the
like-
chemicals in the bones.
Yeah.
You know.
An
But yeah, all
AirTag.
right. I hope everybody enjoyed this episode, man. It was a pretty good debate.
A bit unhinged, but it works.
But you know, when I agree with Christian as to why they did it, I just don't think they should have done it.
Yeah, I think the same as you, but I can see why. That's why I said I understand.
Don't make sense. It's a missed opportunity, and now they've kind of fucked it up, really. Because now, if I was Wayne, I was like, I don't even want to do it no more. Even if like public outcries, like, when the fuck is Wayne want to do a? Everybody, he's like, I'm not doing that shit. Y'all had y'all's chance with me. Fuck that. Go ahead and book Bruno Mars' motherfucking ass or whoever the fuck.
And my final message to Drake: just put out a song, dude. Like,
Yeah,
like where's your Not Like Us?
Yeah.
Like your fans are still waiting. Academics is still in front of his PC waiting. Like,
there's nothing he can do musically. He got to shoot him. That's all he can do. It's the only way you can get it. It's got to go back to
Either
the 90s.
way, if he releases a song or not, we'll just be surprised.
Yeah. But all right, everybody. Thanks for tuning in to this episode. Let us know in the comments what y'all think about the whole Super Bowl thing and martial law and Biden and the invasion of the U.S. and whatever else it was we talked about. Yeah, drop a couple lines down there. And for Christian and Ian and Chris Short, and we'll see you in the next one.